I saw a bunch of blinking lights, and my digital wiener just got vibrating and rigid.
Oh my. All right, welcome to episode 261 of the LinuxLUGcast. We are an open podcast / lug that meets at 9 p.m. Eastern every first and third Friday of the month using Mumble. We encourage anyone listening to join us and participate on the podcast. Check out LinuxLUGcast.com for the server details. If you have any questions, comments, topics you'd like us to discuss and are unable to join us live during the show, you can send us an email at feedback@linuxlugcast.com. We have a Lemmy server. We have a Matrix server. We have a Jitsi server, which we use during the recordings so you can see our beautiful faces. And if you aren't able to join us live to see our beautiful faces, you can check out both YouTube and Peertube. We have channels there where this gets posted. And links for all of that is both at the website and in the show notes. I'm your host for this evening, Honky Bagoo. With us tonight is Eric.
Hey.
Joe.
Yep, I'm here.
Lovecraft.
Hello, everyone.
Minnix.
Hello.
Mordancy.
Arr.
And Netminer.
Hello.
All right. So apparently Danny is chomping at the bit to see what Joe has been working on.
He wants to see my rack.
He wants to see it.
Everybody wants to look at my rack.
Hey, I'm in that camp. Let's see it.
All right. And this is mostly its final form. Damn camera. Okay.
So starting from the top.
Starting from the top, you have my portable router there, which is hooked up to, well, I'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
But next down on the open shelf, there is two 1 terabyte portable drives. And then there, you can kind of see it back there. There's an adapter that goes from USB-C to, NGFF, that allows me to hook up more drives to my HP ProDesk G3 600 mini small form factor, which is running an i5 6500T. Currently, it has 12 gigs of RAM. It will be upgraded to 32 gigs once that arrives from Amazon. It's only got 128 internal, but then it's got those two 1 terabyte USB drives and currently 3 other drives that are hooked up.
Nice.
In the whole adapter that I have there.
Now that drive bay, are those slide out? They
do, but they don't slide out real well. I don't want to mess it up because the cables are kind of bound in the back right now. So, right. But this one, and this one holds 2 2.5-inch drives, and this one is currently holding my 12 terabyte full-size drive that's a little bit dying, that I'm not using for anything anymore. Let's see if I can, you can kind of see it.
Is it clicking or what?
It's actually dropping every now and again, disconnecting, and it's just super old, and I'm hopefully going to be able to replace it this next month. But I took apart the giant DAS that I had, and you can see the power supply for the DAS is back there, and I moved the switch right there from the case so that I can still turn it off and on, and that's powering those 2.5-inch drives and the 3.5-inch drive, and the drives, the 4 drives that were originally hooked up to my main computer are still hooked up to my main computer using a SAS to SATA adapter. And then the other drives that are hooked up to the HP are also powered from that same power supply.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I have my Netgear GS, I think it's a 108. Hold on, let me Yeah, GS108, which the 3D printed frame for was available as, an STL on, I believe it was Thingiverse. And then I have a plate here that allows me to pass through either HDMI on this side or, Ethernet on this side. And so I had to purchase the little pieces that slide in, but the rest of that's 3D printed as well. And so I have the inbound coming from the wall to the back plate on this, and then I have outbounds that go to the Wi-Fi router, the travel router that I use, which is actually really good for 2.5 and 5 gigahertz. It's the GL iNet. I know I've mentioned it on the show before. So it runs OpenWRT, and then it's also hooked up. There's a cable coming out of the back of the plate that goes to the Pi that's running my Octoprint. And then, yeah, that should be it. Hold on, there's 5. So that's inbound, router, computer, Pi, and there should be one other one, but I don't know what it is right this second. I'd have to find it. But yeah, that's the setup there. And then on the Pro Desk, I'm currently running Proxmox, and it currently only has one VM. I'm working on a second VM, and it's also running Portainer on an unprivileged LXC. So
make sure when you set the VM, the CPU you want to set to host. So
yeah,
you're not trying to emulate the CPU.
I had to convert the host. I had done it wrong. I didn't realize that I needed to be on host for the best performance. But that's a couple of simple clicks. What I'm having trouble with now is I had to create a Samba share from my main PC because that's where most of my storage is. Because the HP Pro Desk is a little bit limited, but I have hopefully found a way on that on the number of drives that you can hook up. So I will eventually be ordering a couple of things from AliExpress because of the narrow space. I need some right angle SATA connectors. And then I need a NVMe adapter instead of the NGFF adapter, so that I can hook up to the M.2 slot that's in there and hook the drives in and still be able to close the top. I was hoping to be able to do that at the same time that I put in the 32 gigabytes of RAM, but that's not happening.
Describe this new mini PC you got.
I did. It's currently 12 gigs of RAM. It's the HP
okay.
Pro Desk
I thought
600
you had
G3 Mini.
Gotten for some reason a Chinese one or something like that. No,
no.
okay, cool.
That was like $60 on eBay, so it was not bad at all.
What did you say? The CPU?
The i5 6500T.
Oh, okay.
It will do
have
transcoding.
8 threads?
Yes, a total of 8 threads.
Nice.
So that's 2 cores. Oh no, I think it's only 4. I don't know. I have to look it up again.
Oh, it's only 2 cores, so
2
4
cores,
threads.
2 threads, so 4 threads total.
Okay.
So I think I can put the 7500. Yeah, I think I can put the 7500T in there eventually. But for now, this is doing fine. I know it's not a lot to work with, but it was rather budget friendly. And like I said, it's running a VM of Mint that I'm basically using exclusively on my phone with Dex. So it feels like I have a full Linux on my phone, which is kind of cool. It works out really well. I set the screen resolution to match that of my portable display that I use, and I can just install whatever I want to on there, VLC. On that one, I'm able to either use SSHFS or the Samba share, and I'm able to do reads and writes. My current problem is that with the LXC, there's a group permission error that I need to figure out how to fix.
Okay, hang on. So you're using Dex on your Android phone, but how are you accessing the Mint VM from there?
Okay, now Proxmox is actually really interesting. I don't know if you've ever used Proxmox before, but I'm assuming that you haven't since you said that. Proxmox, whenever you install a VM, whenever you install a VM, it attaches no VNC to it,
Right.
which is very similar to Chasm VNC, except you don't need to install it. So no VNC is working outside of the image, your VM, and it's allowing you to view it. So actually, you know what? I can
So
share my
you're using
screen.
no VNC in full screen mode, basically, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I got you. From the Proxmox web interface.
Right. And all I have to
All
do is pop it out in no VNC, and it works just fine.
That's a pretty cool way to do it. I didn't know if you were doing it that way or if you had a VNC client on your phone and connecting via that way.
So yeah, you can see it here, and all I have to do is click that, and it's full screen.
And this is on your phone?
I can. Well, this is on my computer, but it's the exact same on my phone. I request the I force it into desktop mode, and then I just do the exact same thing. I mean, it's the exact same web page, web interface, and all that. And like I said, I'm running Portainer as well. And Portainer you access directly from a website. I'm not going to show all of that though. But I was running Jellyfin on it when I had I had limited the size of the LXC to just a few gig. And Jellyfin, when it transcodes, it stores it all locally, unless you go through some configuration, and it filled up rather quickly, and it caused the entire Portainer, Docker, everything to crash because there was no hard drive space left. And currently, so I did expand that up to 32 gig.
The great thing about LXCs is they're super easy to grow if
Right.
you need to,
But like
compared to VMs.
It was a bit of a pain to get the Samba share attached to it, but I did, and now I'm still having permission issues, so I can't write back to the Samba share. So I can read from it, but I cannot write to it. And that's making some of the setup of things that I've done a little bit difficult, because I did have Jellyfin on there, but that was writing locally, and so that did work. It just filled up and it broke everything else. So I got LibreOffice working on there, but I can only store locally, and that's not exactly helpful if you're trying to export or something. Same thing with the slicers. I was able to get Orca Slicer, Cura, and Prusa Slicer on there, but I was having some trouble at first, and I found out that it was because I was putting all of my configs in the same area. I had to define specific config locations for each item, because it's not necessarily that they were trying to overwrite each other, but once one has that location, nothing else can write there. It's a permissions limitation, it seems like. So I did get that figured out and fixed, but I still have not figured out the writing back to the Samba share. I know that it is because that it's listed as no group and no owner, and I somehow need to fix that. And then I can't use chown, and I can't use ch group. So what's really good that's running on here right now is I have my Pi-hole instance back up and running. And I've got it working correctly now, and I did set up some local DNS entries on it so that I don't have to keep memorizing the IP numbers of all of the different services created by either Portainer or the different LXCs and the VMs that I'm creating. The next VM that I'm trying to create, which is giving me trouble, is Batacera. I want to be able to remote play all of my games and everything, either from my phone or from another computer or whatever, all the emulation and everything. But Batacera only comes as an IMG, and I've tried converting it to an ISO, but it won't convert to an ISO.
You need to convert the IMG to what's called a QCOW.
I figured I needed to convert it to a VDI.
Or either one. Yeah, it uses both VDI and QCOW format. So yeah, you can create a VM from QCOW or VDI.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of creating the virtual image on my main computer and then trying to port it over. I don't know how to do all of that yet, so but I'm enjoying the learning process with this. That is what has been fun for me. And I probably am going to put Home Assistant on there and try it out. I don't know how well I will do with it or how much time I can dedicate to it at this point. But it might be fun to integrate that with the stuff that I already have set up with Alexa. So
yeah, you would like Home Assistant provides either a VDI or a QCOW for emulation. The Home Assistant OS. That's how I have it in Proxmox.
I'm pretty certain that there is a helper script, which is what I use to set up Portainer specifically for Home Assistant, and those make just the initial setup super easy, like blindingly quick and easy to set things up on Proxmox.
One thing I can recommend is Zabbix to monitor everything that's going on in Proxmox. Here, I'll switch to what's it called? Screen share. Oh, go ahead.
I also need to get Watchtower installed because that will automatically update all of my containers in Docker.
Let's see if this works. Yeah, I just want to share this one. Okay. So here's my nodes or whatever, but I've got 3 nodes in my cluster. But this is Zabbix. It's a monitoring.
So you do know how to use this?
Well, I've been using Proxmox for years.
But have you been having? Do you have VMs on there that you're actually using with no VNC?
So I don't use VMs
or just
too
LXCs.
Mostly LXCs, but like Mastodon is its VM. The Matrix server's in a VM.
Well, then why were you asking?
Well, because there's several ways you can access a VM from
right
within Proxmox. So I was wondering how you were doing it via your phone.
I already know that when I set up Batacera, I'm probably going to end up setting up Sunshine and Moonlight specifically for the lower latency and getting around some of the sound issues that I'm having.
So the reason I said to install Zabbix is because what's great is like that jellyfin that was filling up your LXC
drive space.
Yeah, so you can set alerts like Zabbix. Like if you just want to look at the actual Zabbix server, it'll show you the graphs for the Zabbix server, and this is just running in an LXC via Docker Compose. But they have templates for Proxmox. So if I go to Proxmox here under monitoring, I can view, like I have it set to memory right now. And so I can view like the memory usage of every LXC on my nodes, like available memory and how much memory is being used. Like if we want to go to, let's say, Jitsi. So here's Jitsi. And the cool thing about it is I can set alerts if it gets over a certain amount. Like say storage is what you want to monitor more than anything. So you go to the storage graphs and give it a second to populate. And so
Wait, have you set up your LXCs to access Samba shares?
No.
Okay.
I don't have it. So about like this is Nginx, npm, but you can set alerts under here, alerts and actions, and what do you want to trigger actions for. So if I go here, you can, I don't have anything set right now but you can create an action, call it whatever you want, add conditions, like if you want to add for a trigger, and then it'll set an alarm, and then it'll go to your email. If I go to actions here, I have internal actions as well. These are kind of come with it. But what's cool is like, so there's a template for Proxmox that's already built into Zabbix. So if I go to PVE is that here, this is all my Proxmox, and I can choose which node I want. Like say I want to just look at Raspberry Pi, I can look at the graphs because I set up Proxmox on the Raspberry Pi and then added it to my cluster, and then it can show you everything you want to know about, you know, what's going on with your Raspberry Pi. But what's great is if you set up an email alert, you know, if you just want to use Gmail, you can use Gmail. I have it set with my actual email usage. So with my email server, any time this gets over, like disk usage gets over a certain amount, you can set an email alert and it'll say, hey, your disk usage is over 90% or whatever you set the threshold of, and so you know something's wrong. So you just go and fix it. But it's just running. I'll show it to you. It's running as in this LXC right here. And I've got, it's kind of hefty, so I gave it 2 cores and 2 gigabytes of memory. You can see that right here. And then if I go to my actual LXC and log in, and so it's, you can see what it's using here, but you can also see this is using like 7 different containers that are all being orchestrated through your main Zabbix server, which uses MySQL, and it has different, you know, if you want to use Postgres, if you want to use SQLite. I probably should have used SQLite, but I have better performance. But I tried running this first on the what do you call it? The Wise Thin client, and it was too much for it. And plus, the Wise Thin client didn't have a certain like a CPU extension that I need to run freaking Oracle MySQL, and it was a big mess. And anyway, but yeah, I recommend Zabbix for sure if you're going to start orchestrating major like LXCs and VMs and stuff, and you want to make sure nothing goes wrong. And I'll put...
I don't know how much I can run on this particular computer yet. I probably should have gone for the G4, because I think the G4s is when they start including the PCIe on the inside, so that you can either hook up a graphics card or have more storage. I did try to hook up this little AE adapter to the Wi-Fi slot, hoping that it had the correct BIOS to be able to run that, but it did not. It prevented it from booting entirely, so I could not hook up the 2 SATA drives from that.
Were you not on the show when I talked about Proxmox on the Raspberry Pi?
Uh,
The last show?
Probably not. No, I was on the last show.
Yeah, I spent like a half an hour talking about how I got it running on there and everything.
How it was a pain in the butt.
It was a pain in the ass, but yeah, it actually works well for a little Proxmox server if you get the 8 gigabyte version, which now they have a 16 gigabyte version.
Yeah, but you probably can't run very much from it.
So right now I'm running Etherpad, I'm running Chasm, I'm running Searching, I'm running Git, I'm running, let's see, my web tools.
Oh, dude, I did have a Chasm Ubuntu set up for a little bit, but I didn't like how I couldn't actually do anything with it.
Why can't you do anything with it?
Well, you can't install anything to it.
Sure you can.
No, not if you're getting it from Chasm. They prevent it.
Oh, I got mine from linuxserver.io.
Okay.
Yeah. Try that.
Okay. Well, I'm enjoying my Linux Mint VM at this point, and then I still have to figure out how to do the Batacera image to the VDI, and then figure out what else I'm going to install on my Portainer and get the share working correctly, so that way my instance of LibreOffice works the way I want it to, and my different slicers on there are useful, because then I can do like all of my, if I want to, I can do slicing and printing directly from my phone. I know, I'm a nerd.
Joe, how much of what you showed us in the physical enclosure was stuff that you printed?
The entire enclosure?
Like all the rack?
Other than the keystones and like the hard drive, the actual like computer components, everything is 3D printed.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I 3D printed the rails. I 3D printed all the different shelves and everything. I've talked about the different on modifications that I had to do to the STLs in order to be able to print like the hard drive bay that's there, and anything that's 2U. I had to heavily modify the STL in order to get it to print, and like the shelves are really long as well, and I tried printing them standing up, but they wouldn't print all the way. They were too tall, too thin, and they just eventually snap. I could have modified it to force them to print standing up, but what I found was easier was splitting the STL in half and creating an overlap, so that I could, with holes in it that lined up, so that I could screw them together. And that does provide a little bit more strength if I do the screw holes correctly, and it allows me to print it on my Ender 3. So yeah, as a matter of fact, if I go up to the top of this thing, right there, you can see that top shelf. It's bolted together.
Yeah, I saw the bolts, and I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you had like a portion of maybe the frame, and then you just needed to put the unit racks or something. So
no,
that's pretty cool.
It is entirely top to bottom 3D printed, and I can only print 4U rails, and this is 8U tall, so I did have to design the spacer that holds them together. But that's not a big deal. It's just a U shape with a couple of holes in the right spot. So, and yeah, and then I had to I found somebody else's handles, and I had to redesign them so that they were the right width. and it kind of makes it look more like the Geek Pie one that inspired all of this. And yeah, I've really enjoyed putting that together.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I know it's all printed in different colors, and in the summer I might end up having to reprint a lot of the parts in PETG because a lot of it's in PLA right now. But yeah, at least I know I can do it. And I can always make it taller again.
Have you ever considered, and I don't know if there's actually any money to be made, those services where you can make things for people, where it's sort of like a matchmaker service?
What are you talking, like Fiverr?
Well, no, not necessarily Fiverr, but I think it was
Print Farm?
Yeah, it was something like that, where basically there were people that would bid on doing print jobs, and I guess it was just a way to make a little, like, not a lot, but a little bit of extra money. I don't know if that was something that ever.
A couple of people have asked me about that, but there are so many, especially like in this area, there are so many people that are doing the whole print farm thing that the competition there is just more than I want to deal with. And a lot of those people are a lot better at 3D design than I am.
So I found designs, or not found, I was pointed toward designs on Thingiverse for during the pandemic. My thing was retro, like classic shaving, and I was using. There's a style of razor that uses actual, like, they look like razor blades, like the scraper type razor blades, but they're for shaving. Anyway, so someone had designed a bunch of different. They're called GEM blades, but yes, they're kind of like they're like razors. They're like this kind of like scraper razor.
Oh, okay.
But you can shave with it. Anyway, so someone had made a bunch of designs on Thingiverse, or uploaded them to Thingiverse, and I was like, well, what do I do? I don't have a 3D printer, and like, how am I supposed to get these made? And so I kind of asked around, and I found someone on a forum that did it, but he didn't do them, I guess, like, they weren't precise enough because the stuff didn't fit right, and like it just wouldn't go together the way it was supposed to. And then I was like, well, how the hell do I get these made? And I had to like search around. This was 5 years ago too, so I don't know if things are different now, but it was.
I'd have printed them for you. I felt
as though it was difficult. Well, I don't think I even knew you 5 years ago.
No, you didn't.
But anyway, I found it to be much more difficult than I would have expected to be able to find someone to do that for me. Because I was happy to pay someone. First of all, I didn't know how much I should pay. And then second of all, like, I didn't know who to ask. And obviously the person that did it for me, I did end up paying him. But I paid him prior to getting them. And then once I got them, I realized that they didn't work. They did technically, but not very well.
Yeah.
I think he used the wrong kind of, like, this plastic was too soft or something, but or his print. I don't know, how, whatever. What is it that the term for how fine a print can be?
Layer height?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't know if it's like a equivalent to like PPI, like a printing
there
type
is
thing.
But I don't use that terminology. It's essentially the same thing.
Gotcha.
As PPI.
Anyway, so yeah, it just and I never pursued it past that. I mean, I probably could have, but at this point I don't care, because that was my like pandemic thing. I mean, I still shave that way, but
some of those.
Yeah,
I've seen some of those prints, and I've considered it, especially when I was moving away from Dollar Shave Club, because their razors really suck now.
Yeah. Actually, I really like the Schick injector style razors, which are, it's like, they haven't made one since like 20 years ago. So, and most of the ones that I have are like 50 years older or older. But anyway, I was really into it during the pandemic, and yeah, like now I still shave that way, but I kind of I have like probably 100 razors. I went a little overboard, but
Yeah.
it was fun.
Well, it was you that sent me looking for those 3D prints essentially when you were talking about how you enjoyed shaving with that style
Probably,
of
yeah.
razor.
Well, people were doing everything. I mean, they would do the handles for brushes. They would do a bowl, like a shaving bowl to mix lather. They were printing razors. Like you 3D printing for that type of stuff. If you have the right quality and type of plastic and all that stuff, like you could make some pretty impressive things.
Right.
Anyway, I just didn't know if that was like something that was even worth doing, or if it was like, no, you make $2 off of a print and it takes you, it's too much work, or
it takes very, very little actual like time for you to do it. All you have to do essentially is start you have to slice it, of course, to whatever specifications, and then start the print, make sure that the first couple of layers go down, and then basically turn around and walk away, check on it every couple of hours to make sure you're not making spaghetti, and when it's done, it's done. Either it came out right or you have to start over again.
Gotcha.
So, it would be nice to do, but it's a big investment to get in. Oh, speaking of this particular topic, I want to get y'all's opinion. What do you think about the crap that happened with Bambu Labs?
What happened with Bambu Labs?
What happened with Bambu Labs? Really? Really?
I don't even know what
Yeah.
Bambu Labs is.
They make
printers.
they make really like top end printers. They came out about 2 years ago and completely changed the FDM 3D printing game because they account for the vibrations that are created by the motions of the motors, which means that you can print much faster and much higher quality at those speeds. And they came out with a system to automatically change your filaments, so you can do multicolor, multi-material, whatever, all through their system. What they tried to do with their licensing essentially was force everybody with a Bambu printer to only use their Bambu software to do it. And the way that they did it made everybody think that they were planning on turning it into a service. So
how did they force? I mean,
well,
are you talking about slicer wise, or just to interface with the printer?
Both, yes. They for security reasons they were trying to make it so that you could only use their slicer, and you had to verify by having the printer connect to their servers, blah 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 blah, and that's the only way that it would print. And they tried to make it so you had to get the update, and then they kept retracting what they were doing as all of this kickback came in from the community. And I was watching like Facebook Marketplace when this was going on, and just the number of Bambu printers that hit Facebook Marketplace in my area was a little bit crazy. But they tried to roll back what they were saying about it. But a couple of other companies for like half the price are coming out with essentially knockoff Bambu printers. Elegoo has one that I'm kind of looking at. I still don't want to pay the $500 for it, but it's what was it? The Elegoo Centauri? Yes, Elegoo Centauri, and it's supposed to. Well, it's probably not going to have the add-on to do the multi-filament, at least not right away. But it's supposed to have equivalent speeds and equivalent print quality without all of the licensing crap that
So what happened with that?
Bambu.
They just
Well,
decided not
like I
to
said,
do that?
they did start rolling that back. I haven't seen anything about it in the last couple of days after the initial kerfuffle, but yeah, my assumption is that they backed off on most of that. But you know, you pay for something and you're supposed to be able to use it any way that you want to, and then all of a sudden there's a monthly paywall in order to keep using equipment that you've already paid for.
Isn't there a word
and
for this?
Bullshit?
No.
I don't know.
knows it. It's happening to everything.
Enshittification?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, there it is.
Yep. That's how they get you.
But there's a couple of companies that are coming out with things that are similar to the Bambu printers, and I'm kind of excited by that. It's really kind of changing the market, and it will change FDM printers entirely. So
I should just throw mine in the garbage.
yeah,
Doesn't matter. It's not like I use it anyway.
And then there's also the K1 Max, which people are talking about. That's supposed to be very similar to the Bambu. So I'll keep my eye out for that. And the Anycubic Cobra S1 is supposed to be coming out as well. So the 3D printing is going to be an interesting space for the next couple of years. And it only took 2 years for somebody to be able to make a clone of the Bambu printer. So yeah, it was really the wrong time for them to start changing their licensing agreement when, you know, other people are making something of similar quality for half the price.
By the way, speaking of enshittification, what do you guys think about what those apartments were trying to do with bank username and password to verify your income?
That is such a scam.
There is no reason ever that you should be giving that up. Ever.
That is crazy.
I mean, you can get certified copies of your bank statements if they really want directly from the bank, I'm pretty sure, and give that to them, but never, ever give them direct access to your entire freaking life.
Like Lovecraft said in Matrix, man, it's. I've gone through 2 mortgages too, and I've never once had to give up that type of information. No.
By the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I had mentioned my girlfriend was looking for a new apartment, and to verify her income, they asked her to sign into a service where you need to give them your bank username and password, and then they can verify your income that way.
Never gonna happen.
Please tell me you reported them to somebody.
Well, I looked it up, and it's not illegal for them to ask for that.
As long as you are willing to give it up. That's the thing. Our privacy laws are so shit in this country. Like, companies can do all of these things that you and I will sit here and say, how is that even legal? There is just no protections. Like, you know, between that type of stuff and data brokers and
Musk.
Well, no, I mean, it predates him. I mean, this is something that should have been done.
I'm just giving
20
the
years
most
ago.
obvious current example.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it is. When I talk to people from any other country, because we're really one of very few countries that allow this type of abuse of personal information. You know, I talk to people from other countries and they're like, it literally blows my mind that there are companies that exist solely to suck up and house personally identifiable like information, like all of this like very personal information that they should never have access to. Yet they're allowed to not only take it, store it, but they're allowed to sell it. It's absolutely insane.
But I'm sure this is what this company was going to do with the info. By the way,
well, have you ever used a service like Mint, or there are like financial services that'll help with like budgeting, or they'll help you. Like there's one that shows you like if you're signed up for a bunch of streaming services and like how to simplify it. I can't remember what the hell it was called, but it's one of those stupid YouTube advertisers. Anyway, a lot of those services work exactly like that, where you sign in through their service into your financial institution. And basically what you're allowing it to do is because your bank allows you to do an electronic export or an API sort of call to their records so that you can get your account transactions, right? That's what they're doing, is they're pulling in your financials via it's like if you were using QuickBooks or TurboTax or something like that. They sort of can do the same thing if you let them. But that's exactly the same technology. It sounds like that this I mean, listen, real estate is fraught with this type of abuse of landlords abusing tenants. I mean, it to the point where, you know, during the pandemic, they had to put a freeze on, you know, evictions because of them, you know, trying to cash in. And basically, and this was happening too. I just heard about it in California, and except it's completely illegal to do this. After the fires, there were so many families and people looking for housing that everything that was for rent, no matter how bad a deal it was an option, because, you know, you need somewhere to live. And there's supposedly a law where they can't raise more than 10% in a certain amount of time or something like that. But there were all these reports of, you know, landlords basically probably, you know, mostly illegally and mostly under the table saying things like, well, you know, if you sweeten the deal, or like, you know, basically asking for bribery more or less. But yeah, this type of stuff, like, listen, I'm going to pay you my first and last month's rent. And then if I don't pay you, yeah, I don't know. I have a fundamental problem with the way that tenants can be treated. But then I also have a problem with squatters' rights. The idea is that someone can't be evicted for longer than, you know, it should take to get someone out that's not paying, right? So I just think the whole system's less than ideal. But yeah, I suppose I'm assuming you told her not to do that, right?
Yeah, so I was going to tell you the rest of the story, how I played out.
Please.
So, yeah, several times they wanted, and she would say, look, I'm not comfortable giving you that information. And they said, oh, well, they don't do anything. All it does is verify your income. Meanwhile, it sees every single transaction and deposit you ever made, you know? So she said, so she asked, can I just submit my pay stubs? And they hemmed and hawed and said, okay, there should be an option on there somewhere to submit your pay stubs. So she found it, but whenever she would choose to submit her pay stubs, it would just submit the application. So it wouldn't let her, through the website, submit her pay stubs like they said it would. And she told them, and I don't think they really believed her, and so she had to actually take her laptop up there and show them, hey, this is what you're telling me to do. When I go to submit the pay stub, it just submits the application. And they said they finally saw it for themselves, so they said they had to speak with their manager or whatever. Somebody got a hold of the software company that uses the service, or that creates the service, and then today finally they sent her a link, and she clicked on that link, and they fixed the quote unquote bug, and she was able to submit her just regular pay stubs instead of giving access to her account. And we were saying, was this really a bug, or was this intentional, so that this service can actually, you know, make you feel like you're forced into giving up that information? And how many other people gave up the information because they felt like they didn't have a choice, you know, and things like that. So anyway, she was able to just do her pay stubs.
So what this reminds me of in a way is automobiles, and how there was this huge, and hopefully it sounds like they're trying to address it, but basically auto manufacturers were putting in, because they have an always connected system. Most cars, now have always on internet, whether you know it or want it or not. And so they are basically tracking you, capturing all your data, and then they were selling it, and still are, as far as I know. Again, LexisNexis, some of these data brokers selling data to the insurance companies, and then people's rates were going up, and it's like, well, what did I do? And basically insurance companies saying, well, you have risky behaviors. We have data that shows that you're hard braking and accelerating, quickly, and like driving over the speed limit, and like all these things, and basically being surveilled by your car.
I live in Dallas. I end up hard braking every day because some dumbass pulls in front of me.
Right. And you can say that, and of course that's the truth. I mean, you can say, look, it's not like I'm driving like a maniac, but of course they can use that as a convenient excuse to say, oh, well, you're an aggressive driver or whatever. And it's like, I couldn't believe this was actually a Mozilla thing where I found this out. They have a report card on like the worst privacy, the worst industries for privacy, and like cars were one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, and it's all about like which manufacturers are the worst at it and all that. But yeah, apparently this did get some attention, I think last year, from Congress about like, why is it legal to be surveilled like this by the car manufacturer? But it also makes me think, not to keep belaboring this, but do any of you use the option from your auto insurance to plug something into your ODB?
No, I would
port?
never do that.
Isn't that insane? Would you?
No. I have
it's
something
like,
plugged into my ODB, but it's because I put it there and I use it for monitoring things that my Mini won't tell me.
Right. But, the insurance companies are doing that where they're like, well, we'll give you, 10% off if you let us keep an eye on you,
Yeah,
and it's like
my
that same
privacy is worth
mentality.
way more
But
than that.
I've seen the
To me.
reports that say that is specifically so that they can go back and look and say, oh, you braked hard. Oh, you were speeding.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not paying.
Yep.
So no, never,
Yep.
ever.
My agent, and I know this is automated through the corporate structure, the corporate marketing, but I called my agent and I said, you can stop asking. I will never give you access to that information, and you can say that makes me look guilty, or you can say whatever, bullshit you want to. Like, I am never letting you intentionally, surveil me like that. Like, that's crazy.
Why are you going to pay for a service when they're going to take the information that you give them and then not pay when they're supposed to pay?
I mean, it's bad enough that they already use your credit report to establish rates, right? Like your credit worthiness is how much you would pay. It should just cost what it costs, right? There shouldn't be a sliding scale. It shouldn't matter. It should be, this is what you pay for the car that you're driving, for the area you live in. Like, there can be, different, but the fact that they profile you that way, and now, cars can track you and then they sell it back to them. Like, that type of stuff to me is the dystopian future. The whole concept of like Zuckerberg saying privacy's dead and there's no concept of, privacy. And I give up a lot to live in the modern world. I understand that when I'm using a Google product, or I'm using, I know what I'm doing. I'm making that decision consciously. But whenever you buy a car and it's going to report everything you do without any way for you to do anything about it, like that's and yeah, I can't deal with that.
when companies start, trying to charge you a monthly fee to use your heated seats, there's a freaking problem.
Yeah, and not just a little bit. Like, some of that stuff was really expensive. There was Mercedes was trying to do something like that too.
I believe that's the one I was talking
No,
about.
BMW was the heated seats one.
Okay.
Yeah. They pulled that back, by the way, but they were testing the water, obviously.
Thankfully, the pushback was there.
Well, I watched a video the other day about it was from a Gen Z perspective of just everything in their lives is a subscription. You know, they don't own anything. They don't own their music. They don't own any of their media. They don't own, you know, so many things in their lives are down to a subscription based model. And you know, it's like, I guess once enough people are used to that, or, you know, people like us who who know that you can own DVDs or have your own music or whatever, you know, once we're no longer around, I guess, to explain that to people. Like, I'm not exactly sure what the end game of it is, because the rates just keep going up and up and up. I mean, I'm sure you guys see it, but like, it's like every 6 months or every year, Netflix is more.
Netflix
Hulu's
just raised their
more.
prices.
Yeah, you know,
I know
it's
what the
like,
end game is for me. Is I'm not paying for that shit.
more. Well, what is it? What is it? Payment without ownership is something privacy. There's a whole piracy thing that I've seen basically that says, you know, like, payment without ownership is. I can't quote it right now, but I get the sentiment. Mordancy's a pirate. Yar. Anyway, sorry to get us way off track like that, but
No, I mean, that's kind of how we do it here.
I was going to say we were on track.
well, sometimes we are. I think so.
Danny, did you talk about the X-Pipe stuff?
Yeah, we did talk about that. And
Okay.
I thought it was really cool. Actually, I went ahead and kept it. And so I guess I can just show, since it's easier to do that than to. So I got it installed in Chasm. Sure, it's still installed. Yes. Okay. I'm going to turn on. So what Xpipe does. Big screen here. All right. So if you want to, this is Chasm. So this is a cool application too. I got this running in an LXC. But I see Chasm VNC. What it is basically kind of an OS inside of a Docker container, and then they use Chasm VNC to actually use it. And Chasm VNC is a browser-based VNC, kind of like a Guacamole, if you guys remember. So this is what I use for nicotine as well. If you guys are familiar, we've talked about nicotine plus past. Anyway, so Xpipe is a way to quickly SSH and observe all your servers within a single interface, and it's very handy. So they have a Proxmox plugin, but to use that, you have to actually pay a subscription to the home server or the pro version, and you don't have to use it. If you don't use it, you have to do everything manually, which is fine. So I set up everything. So I've got my 3 nodes here for my Proxmox server, and if I have these color coded. If I click on one, it'll, you know, I've got it set up with keys, my public keys. And if I click on one, it opens an interface. So here's the Proxmox server for the Raspberry Pi right here. Let's see. I've got them organized over here. So my nodes are the 3 I'm sorry. My nodes are the 3 computers within Proxmox. So that's what I'm on now. I have LXCs. So LXCs are all the Linux containers I have in Proxmox. So I have them all set up here and color coded in green. So like if I wanted to go to the Jitsi, I would just click on it and boom, it opens up an SSH terminal right there. And you can organize everything how you want. So I color coded all my LXCs to be green. There's also different options here. You can look. You can go to your Docker container, which is inside the LXC, or go into the LXC itself. They give you a option between dash and bash. And we're looking here. So here's the three options I have. And here's the Docker container, which is the default configuration. So you have those, and then here's my VMs. I think I colored the yellow. Yeah, yellow. And then I can do the same thing with the VMs. Like here's the matrix server. Click on that. Boom. I've automatically got a shell, the key, and got everything nice and organized. So anytime I need to access it, I've got access through Chasm, which is behind a password, and then XPipe as well. So I don't have to do a SSH connection from some stranger's Wi-Fi or whatever like that. If I were going to do that, I would use WireGuard. I always also have set up. So that's XPipe. I recommend it unless you really need all the features from the home server version and all that stuff. The next application I want to talk about is the Min browser. So I was looking for a browser to run in a Chasm container because I've only given it 2 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm basically running an OS within Chasm. And any other browser I use would just crash, like even Chromium, Firefox obviously, and a few others I tried, Brave. But Min browser I stumbled on because it's so light on resources while still being able to view the modern web that it uses hardly anything. So if you need a very low resource browser that still enables you to view everything on the modern web, check out an application called Min Browser. And so another good thing about it, if you go to preferences, it automatically has what do you call it? Like a way to it has a built-in ad blocker. In other words, let's see. Oops, I'm in Siri XNG browser. What I want to do is go to I'm like confused. Here, these preferences. Yes, okay. So content blocking right here. You can block all third-party ads and trackers. You don't need any extension. You can choose to block all scripts. You can change the appearance. I just have it following system theme. The dark theme looks nice as well, but anything you would expect in a regular full-featured browser, Min has, and it's just spelled M-I-N. You can get it from the repos, you can get it from source, you can get it from GitHub, however you want to do it, it should be there. I think it's different repos, it's min-browser, and some it's min browser, all one word, so it just depends. So that is Min browser. I'm currently using XFCE in this Chasm. So yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to bring up was those two applications.
Somebody was talking about de-googled Chromium.
Yeah. We couldn't get a hold of you earlier.
Well, I stepped away for a moment. But the idea was there's also a browser called Thorium, which is another Chromium
That's what it is.
respin.
Yeah. That's why I was trying to remember, because you talked about it before. Is that what you use?
Yeah, I use it a lot. Also, I understand that it can be a replacement for Chromium OS, which means, I mean, there is a Thorium OS which can be installed on Chromebooks. Like I have a Chromebook that's been put away for some time, and it may not have, it may not be current. So if I have to replace it, I can use the Thorium OS.
Now, have you ever heard of something called de-Googled Chromium?
Yeah, you mentioned it. I haven't dug into that much.
I wonder if that's the same principle as thorium.
Well, I think it is to some degree.
But I was always of the opinion that Chromium had nothing to do with like Google services. Is that not true?
Well, it may be that de-Googled Chromium has gone in and dug out some other stuff that regular Chromium let slide.
Now you're going to have to tell us about your brand new internet.
It's fast. I've been downloading while the show is running some ISOs for Mint and for Raspberry Pi MX, so I get the latest crop. And it takes like minutes instead of half an hour or stuff like that.
So what are you coming from? DSL? ADSL?
Yeah, ADSL.
And what was the speed on that?
I don't recall.
Isn't it like 20 megabits or 25 or I can't remember what the max is.
Slow as shit?
I think 15 or something was.
Oh, really?
Compared to this, it's rocket. This is a rocket.
You like it?
Yeah. Now, I haven't dug in to the router, which means I haven't established either static IPs or DHCP reservations for my systems. I really like that idea so that I know where I know, I don't have to worry about my systems jumping around compared to each other.
Yeah, I mean, that used to be a big thing, static IPs on the actual computer, but at least at work and in my network, everything is reserved through the router now. I don't even mess around with static IPs anymore. Which, I mean, is a form of static IP, I guess, based on MAC address.
Well, it's the DHCP, because DHCP, all it does is tell DHCP to hand out the same address to the same MAC interface.
Yeah, it's basically a permanent lease.
Yeah, but that is pseudo-static, because if your router goes down, you don't have any IP.
If your router goes down, you've got some bigger problems.
So
Yes.
they give... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, so you were looking for a router, right?
Well, I'm looking at a multi-port router PC.
Now,
What did they give you?
yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Did they give you a modem, or did they give you one of those router/modems?
He
They
said
give-
it's not a modem.
This unit is a white box that is allegedly fed by what is labeled as a 10 gigabit Ethernet Ethernet cable, but it is completely separate from the interface box. So it is not a router modem. It's
Just a router.
Yeah, it's a 4-port router. 2 of the ports are gigabit, and one of them is labeled 10 gig. I don't know if they actually do the 10 gig, but I would kind of doubt it at my speed. Although I haven't tested it, I don't have anything with a 10 gig interface to test it with, and I don't think I'd get that much more out of it.
So they must. So the actual gateway, I guess, is external to your house.
The actual gateway is a box which is now on my floor near where the cables come into the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then up from that comes a wide flat Ethernet cable, which is probably whatever is required for 10 gig. But that would be feeding my router at whatever speed. I don't know the protocol used by the router to log in or to get an IP address from the FiOS server. That information is not commonly available to the installer because they just put it in and black box it. Also, they talk about IPv6 pinholes and stuff like that, but I'm going to probably stay with an IPv4 completely IPv4 network. I don't see any real advantage to going to IPv6.
And you said you have to rent the router from them, but you can choose your own.
I have to rent the router at the moment, but I am looking at going pfSense with a mini box like I had before. I would just and then I might have a separate link for my guest network device.
You got a fun little project coming up. You figure out what you want to get.
Well, I really have to figure out how many ports and how to rewire my current network.
Now, do you have a switch?
I have at the moment 4 switches, 1 8-port and 3 5-port, and they're all unmanaged switches. So basically, any port can be an upstream port, which is the way the network is working now. I haven't done anything fancy with VLANs or what have you.
Are they gigabit switches?
Yes.
Okay.
All the switches that I have currently plugged in are gigabit.
There you go.
But again, it's a flat network topology so far. If I don't know if it would be worthwhile to go to, if I go to a 2.5 router, if it would be worth my while to go to a 2.5 base switch next to the router. But I'll have to look into that.
Any Raspberry Pi news?
Well, I just recently got the last element so that I could configure the Raspberry Pi 5. But again, I've been distracted by dealing with getting my phone service and internet service straightened out. So I haven't done a Raspberry Pi 5. I'm tempted. I'll have to see about what I'm going to be doing with my Raspberry Pi 4s and 5s, because now I have I don't need the one that I was using as a apt cache. Also, I have a couple of 10 gig capable NVMe USB enclosures with fans. So I may experiment with that on some of my stuff.
What about you, Honky? Working on anything?
I built that shelf.
Oh, you did?
Well, the thing where I put all the single board computers on, and I have the switch in the middle. I can't really show it right now because, well, so the computer I normally do Jitsi on, that I normally just leave sitting here, is I put Bodhi on because I've been having so many problems trying to do RPG Maker, trying to get it. So RPG Maker will run, but I couldn't do a play test with it when I was running it on Manjaro, or more recently when I've been running it on Manjaro. Not sure what the issue was. So one of the things I looked around, and then they suggest using a Ubuntu version. Ubuntu. So I used Bodhi. Bodhi's based on Ubuntu, and it was running fine until I just tried to start it now, and for whatever reason I can't get it to start at all. So that one is down, and so I'm just on this one laptop right now, and I'm using the camera that's built into the laptop. But I got those who saw, I put pictures on Matrix. It's just basically a shelf, and then I have all my single board computers stacked on it, and with a switch in the middle. Right. No, I got too many things plugged into this one. I can't switch this one around. No, I can't show it right now. I'm sorry. But yeah, I've been working on that. I've been printing some stuff for that. Trying to organize down here. I've moved or rearranged some of my stuff, so I'm trying to use the pegboard that I have over there. So I've been printing up some stuff to help organize my tools on the pegboard. Yeah, just to try to clean and organize. that's been pretty much it. I mean, it was great when I did have Bodhi working because I installed Steam, I installed RPG Maker, and I was able to play test on it. And I'm like, all right, great, that's great. I can go back to working on the game I was working on. And then today I started up, and Bodhi just wouldn't start at all. I tried reinstalling Bodhi again, and then it wouldn't start again afterwards. So I just downloaded Ubuntu, and I'll be trying to install it in a few minutes. Yeah, 3D printing stuff. That's about it.
What about you, Eric?
Sorry, I've been talking to family. What is the question?
Been working on anything?
Oh, yes, I was going to talk about something. The fact that I can't remember anything ever.
Working on your memory?
Yeah, right. Lack thereof. No, I can't think of it. I had thought of it something earlier in the week, and yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
jump in if you remember.
Yeah, if I think of it, I'll jump in.
Mordancy?
He's working on his homebrew partnership,
Here.
I think.
Yeah.
How's that going?
Reorganizing the house, trying to unpack suitcases. We have 6 out of 10 unpacked.
So 10 suitcases.
Yeah, that was expensive.
But no, like, furniture or anything, right?
No what?
No, like, furniture or big screen TVs or anything, right?
Nope. Clothes. I did. I don't know if you guys know. I have Tibetan stuff, Tibetan
Yeah.
Buddhist stuff in the house. I mean, beyond the skull beads. I bought stuff I've been looking for and can't afford for over 30 years, and I bought a lot.
So
It way cheaper than what
of
I could
course.
have got that I've seen. Yeah, directly from there's the three importers and one antique dealer. One has all antique stuff from Tibet. I don't know if you've ever seen the some of the more important monks would donate their skull caps,
Oh,
their skull when they died, and they decorate the top of the skull, and the inside is inlaid with silver.
that's creepy. You buy some skull
They
caps?
use them in some rituals or something. I'll need to look back into it. I haven't read about it for over 30 years, but they're very, very rare, and they don't make them anymore. And this antique, he deals in Tibetan antiques. He has 3 of them that he says he's had for decades. And
So you bought old
I might.
Buddhist skulls?
No, I didn't. I didn't buy those. I didn't buy those, but I
That
think I
went through
might.
Customs?
You're a real.
I think I might.
Becoming a real ghoul on here.
A ghoul. There's.
Yeah.
It's a ancient religious practice.
Okay. But you want to just hang
Ancient
it on your
religious
wall?
artifacts.
Or do you want to use it as a coaster? Or what are you going to do with it?
No, actually behind
cozy.
me, we're gonna put different shelves in, and it's gonna be a Buddhist altar behind me.
Mm.
So I have a antique Buddha about this large. That may or may not be 200 years old or more from a temple that was given to me in L, along with I don't know if it's glass or some sort of resin, jade Buddha, but it's not stone, and then a smaller monk that was old. 3D Yoda.
Yoda Buddha.
But you know Furba,
Burba?
the Tibetan dagger they used in rituals.
No, but that sounds like fun.
The cross dagger of Ajanti and the Golden Child. Furba, the dagger in the movie The Shadow.
No.
I'll go get them. I got 3 of them that are carved out of single pieces of bone.
Excellent.
Human bone? You won't
Didn't
say.
ask, but I assume buffalo.
That means yes.
Yeah. Nobody we know, right?
No. Of course not. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Nobody's heard from Flying Rich in a while, have they?
Hasn't been that long.
I see his posts pop up on
You're about to say shit.
YouTube all the time.
Yeah, he's still having fun 3D printing guns.
Gun
Yeah.
parts.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Oh, by the way, I have some
Okay.
stuff. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I've got them. Bringing them upstairs. You can talk. I'll show the pieces on the chat.
Well, let's check them out. You'll have to describe them for the listener.
This may not be all of them.
Did you get these on your excursion?
A recent excursion. I bought some last year also.
Okay. Oh, that's a nice sheath.
Does it say, is that the sheath for it?
Yes, it's a metal container for it.
Oh.
It has a wolf's head at the top.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
That is cool. Got some faces around the top, and then the
Dragon with a blade coming out of its mouth.
So is that a tri-edged blade?
Yes, there are always 3.
That's cool looking.
And that's all one piece?
Yes, it's a single cast solid piece of metal. Sand cast and antique. And he has hundreds of items.
And you can
I have
you can cast spells with it? Or cast out demons? Or what do they do?
Yeah, they use them. They use them in rituals. It's supposed to be one of the darkest and most powerful items. It traps and destroys evil.
That's crazy.
That's
We
cool.
use that on Joel.
Anyway.
What else you got? There's another one. This one has 3, so it's always 3, right? So you got these 3 faces at the top of the hilt. What's on the very top? Some kind of decoration?
Half of a Dorji Thunderbolt.
Oh, okay.
I'll show. You know the Dorji?
No.
I'll show one coming up. The next thing I'll show.
All right.
And it has a Garuda.
Oh, cool. Oh, wow, that's cool.
That is
neat
cool.
looking. Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you going to display these?
This right. There's a thing that this sets in. The other
Okay.
things I will make something where they sit like this.
Right. You
But
don't
there's
want to
a
just throw
base.
them up there.
He's
I
going
haven't
to
found
leave
the
them.
base.
He's going to leave them jammed into Flying Rich's back.
Use Flying Rich as a display.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool.
That is a double Dorji design, and it's has two of them on each side. So a Dorji has either 4 or 8 bands like that. I think it's also called a Thunderbolt. And again, the stuff I read about Tibetan Buddhism's been 30 years easily. But I have a small collection that I've acquired in 30 years. And then last year and this year, I bought a lot.
Now, did customs say anything about all this stuff?
No. The Buddha statue in Dallas, they pulled my suitcase aside and called somebody else to come look at my bag. And I waited like 15 minutes for the person to come, and there were like a dozen security people doing nothing. So they called somebody special. She had already put her shoes and jacket and stuff on and fell asleep sitting on a chair waiting on me. And inside, it was my carry-on. Inside my carry-on, there's the Buddha statue, the statue of Buddha, and it is a solid piece of like cast iron. And I think they were checking to make sure I didn't have stuff inside the statue, or maybe that it was a solid piece of gold I was smuggling out of Thailand.
Right.
So here is a bigger Dorji that has dragons and skulls on it.
These are used in rituals too.
So how did the person check it? Did they just like pick it up and?
They examined it. It's obviously a solid piece of iron.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a Buddha statue. I'm surprised the amulets, the Garuda coin amulets. We must have 200 to 300 of them in our carry-ons. They didn't bat an eye at those.
That's cool. That's cool as hell.
There is one for each of you. It's something L wanted to bring back special that was significant to her religiously, significant to Thai culture, and significant to her personally. And the ones we brought back are made by her uncle, who's a Buddhist monk. And while we were there, he left the temple he was at, and he had one monk above him who owned the temple, and he left and built his own temple. I got to join. I don't know. I think I mentioned it on the last show. I got to help carry the Buddha and the monk statue and put it in place at the consecrating and opening of the temple.
Yeah,
which is a massive privilege.
yeah.
Only a couple people get to do that at each temple when it's opened.
Right, ever. Right,
and
yeah,
it's
that's
it's
amazing.
not done. It's not done again. So the number of temples times 6. That's the number of people in the entire country that get to participate in that. So
those are the coins.
And I didn't
that have
ask.
the string or the piece of cloth. Wasn't it like a red? Am I misremembering something?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. So there's string.
Okay.
There's string in it.
Okay.
And then the cloth is part of not his monk's robe, but the shawl that they wrap around. Okay. And so when it's worn out, it's put into the amulets. So it's supposed to be full of power from all the prayers and stuff.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
the white is from the bracelets, scrap from the bracelets that they make, and then some of them have stones or little black hairs or other things in there. I don't know what they are. I will ask more if we get to go back next time we go back. I'll have lots of questions for him.
Wow.
So here's a Tibetan bell and a dorji together in a case.
Now,
Is that like
if you just listen to the podcast, you're missing out on half the show here.
Oh, the case. Okay, that was the case. Oh, wow.
You got to check it out on YouTube or Peertube. See the good stuff.
The cases that they use are not really cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Now Zell asleep.
I've people
Not
sleeping in the
anymore.
house. Yeah, I probably shouldn't be doing that.
So you're like, did you hear a bell last night?
Hey, L is the bell. Full stop. Well, Midwestern bell. Janelle is more of Northeastern bell.
That's cool.
Prayer beads, there should be 108 on there. Should be 108 on this also. These are hand carved, not as intricate as the other ones, but little round bone skulls. He gave me this and a couple other things for free.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
Bone, but it broke in transit. It's in
Oh,
two
no.
pieces
Oh
now.
no, really?
Oh.
Yeah. Sucks.
Snake vertebrae bracelets, like this one. They have white paint on them, but it comes off pretty quickly when you wear them. Right, that looks fake. And the one on my wrist looks like bone. You know the Tibetan horns that you hear that do the. I got 2 that do that. This is a conch.
That's cool looking.
Wow. Yeah, that's super cool.
I don't know how to make it make the noise. I know he blew on it from the side.
I would guess like a trumpet, maybe, like how you purse your lips and. Yeah, from the side though, you're right. Yeah, that would be weird. I don't know. You muted for some reason.
Push to talk. I'll Google it.
Oh, okay.
This is the stand for the brass furba.
To your knowledge, is most of this stuff actually made there? I'm just curious, like if they have craftsmen making this kind of stuff.
Made in Tibet, and it's antique.
Nice.
There's replica stuff you can get on like Amazon. Those, 20, $40 for metal pieces like this, usually solid color, not brass, not iron.
Gotcha.
The antique stuff is like inlaid with turquoise and coral sometimes,
Oh, okay.
silver, brass.
Awesome.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff would have to be smuggled out of Tibet for when the Chinese took over. They don't after the Chinese take over, they really didn't like anything but communism as their religion. Oh, Mordancy, I don't know what your phone service is, but one of these days, I hope to use my new Clear service to be able to talk to Elle directly when she's available.
Absolutely, she would love it. So this is not a leg bone that's supposed to be made from a leg bone, but this is from buffalo, but it's a antique Tibetan.
Is that a horn or something?
Yes, and I don't know how to make it make noise. Another bone furba. With the dorji at the top.
And that's an incredible amount of hand work there.
And this is the last one I brought up from downstairs. I have some more. I don't know where they're at. And that's all. I'll post a picture of the skull caps in the group in the matrix. along with some of the. I took pictures of stuff that I might order and have them mail to me. Yeah.
I love how casual you say, that's all, after spending 15 minutes.
Oh no, that's all I brought up from downstairs. There's more.
Okay.
Yeah, and all the stuff from last year. But no, the Furba. There's a big cast iron one. That's like 2.5, 3 feet.
Damn.
That I knew would be too heavy to put in my suitcase. But I took a picture of it. And we'll probably. I don't know. I didn't ask him how much that was, but there's a lot. This was really. I mean, there's single pieces that I have that I've only ever seen for like $4,000. Like in the last 30 years. And I'm like, I can't spend $4,000 on this. And it was all of this was not even. I did not spend that much money on all of it. On all of it. Those.
Well, again, the most priceless piece you brought home is the lovely L.
Indeed. Is E6000 okay to use on bone?
I would look around for the right
That's how you
adhesive.
get on a watch list.
Me?
That's how you get on a watch list. Start researching how to glue bones together.
You can make your own Elephant Man.
Just search how to glue ivory together. Probably find more information on that.
Before we get into the movie real quick, I was going to talk about... We were talking about...
Wait a minute. Anybody get into anything real quick here?
Yeah. This is real quick. I want to talk about a service I'm hosting called Wallos. Because we were talking about streaming earlier and how you can sign up for services that kind of keep track of all that stuff. So Wallos is self-hosted web application that you can enter in all of your subscriptions or bill payments or anything like that. It does a really good job of keeping things simple, and you can I'll just show you mine real quick. So it's just got like all my subscriptions here, and you can edit them and have how often you pay them. Categories notify you, so it sends me an email a day before they're due. Some more than that. You can go and do the options here. You can look at a calendar, and it shows you when's everything's due, total cost for the month, amount due this month. You can look at statistics. It has them all split depending on how you have it categorized, how you pay them, yearly cost, things like that. It's super easy. It's just a Docker container and an LXC, and it's called Wallos. And that's it. That's all I wanted to show. I'll put it in the show notes. Very easy to host. I've been having fun with it.
Looks interesting.
Yeah. It's super easy to configure. I was looking for something easy and not too crazy. Something simple. I didn't really need a whole budgeting app. I just wanted to see mainly recurring bills and things like that. Subscriptions. How much was I spending on subscriptions? What can I get rid of? It really kind of narrows it down so you can filter things. And I put it in the show notes. There you go.
Now you want to talk about the Net 2.0?
Yeah, did you watch it? Did you
Yes,
finish
I
it?
did. Yes, I did.
So,
Hot,
the
steaming pile of garbage.
it wasn't
It
that
was
bad.
definitely. So did anybody else watch it? Joe, did you ever get a chance to watch it?
No, I had been planning on watching it today, and then I just I ended up stuck at work till late and didn't get the opportunity. Sorry, guys.
Waited till the last minute. We haven't been together for what, 3 weeks at least?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
And
I wasn't looking forward to the movie anyway.
Lovecraft, did you see it?
Yeah, I finished it up this morning.
All right, there you go. We got 3 people that watched it. Mordancy, did
Mordancy
you watch
saw
it?
it too, yeah.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you go back to, I'm not sure what episode it was, but we saw the original, The Net, with Sandra Bullock.
It was a fantastic movie.
We all enjoyed it, right?
Yes.
Pretty cool movie.
This
it
is
had
not that.
Dennis Miller in it too,
Yeah.
I think.
Dennis Miller.
So this is the.
I can't wait for 3.0 to come out.
You may be waiting a while after the reception that this got. This is the 2006 sequel to the original 1995 film. This is direct to video.
Henry Winkler's going to direct that one.
Yeah, and so it's interesting because The Net was directed by Irwin Winkler, and his son Charles Winkler directed The Net 2.0. So if Charles has a kid, The Net 3.0 will come out whenever he's old enough to direct it.
There you go.
That's all you got to look for. I think the plot is pretty easy except for the last part. So Wikipedia says the story concerns a computer systems analyst who finds herself in a web of identity theft, robbery, and murder when she lands in Turkey for a new job. So she's played by Nikki DeLoach, and I gave a few details in the Matrix room. She used to be part of a girl band called Innocence instead of a boy band. And it also had Britney Spears before she went solo. And so I thought that was kind of an interesting bit of trivia. So Nikki DeLoach plays a computer analyst who is a hotshot at computer security, and she gets picked to be work for this multi-billion-dollar company based in Istanbul, Turkey. And when she gets to Turkey, she has all kinds of problems. Along the way, she kind of loses her identity, whereas she gets everything stolen from her, including access to her bank account. And when she goes to get her passport renewal, it says that she is, what's the name? I don't remember. Somebody besides
Something Roos, Carrie Roos or something like
Carrie
that.
Roos, yeah. Her name is Hope Cassidy. And but yeah, so her passport says Carrie Roos, and she knows something weird's going on, so she goes to her first assignment, which is another corporation in Turkey to kind of fix their security holes in their computer system. And she gets barged in on by the owner of the company, who says that she was given a call that she's an imposter, and there's somebody else that she met at the hotel who is now impersonating her, and she has become Hope Cassidy. So it goes on through your basic like espionage, action, tech thriller in Turkey.
Explain to me how the $14 million got stolen.
So, like the details of the movie, I can't really explain to you.
By details, you mean the plot?
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, the
this
plot
woman
is
just shows up in
basically-
Turkey,
Yeah.
and then she's had, I don't know, she's going around, and then she goes to the job, and when she's at the job, she's all of a sudden gets a thing saying that she's not really her. And well, actually, why did she wind up going to? Oh, her visa was only a temporary visa. She didn't have a working visa.
Right.
So she went to get it fixed, and when she got it fixed, it came back with the wrong name. And when it came back with the wrong name, she got called. As soon as she got her visa, she was like called to a job. So when she went to the job, and all of a sudden she's fixing everything, and the head of security goes, we got a word that you're not you. I go, okay. And then so she gets basically chased out of there, because all of a sudden you just start running. And then she goes to the headquarters for the job, and some woman that she already met is already sitting at the desk.
And says she doesn't know who she is.
Right.
So,
and somehow they link a murder to her, and this whole entire movie also takes place with her already caught in prison and being interrogated. Right.
Yeah, by a psychologist, supposedly.
Right. That's another great one.
Yeah.
But somehow, during the time that she was fixing the security, $14 million went missing and was put into a bank account with her name on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had the funds switched, and the way she had the funds switched was to try and pretend she was herself, but that she was super friends with the owner of the bank or the manager of the bank by photoshopping a photo of her face
before we get into all that.
Well, you're talking about the espionage.
Yeah,
this is the crazy espionage.
I know.
She photoshopped her face onto a picture of like her wife's face.
So the overall plot we've just talked about, which is almost non-existent. Yeah, but there's some crazy ass details in this movie that I definitely want to go over, and that is one of them. Explain how she put herself into this picture of this bank owner. Because this was made in 2006, mind you, before AI or any of that stuff.
So she had somehow took a picture of it, scanned it in with her little Windows pad, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call those.
Yeah, what was that phone? It was a Windows phone, right?
Yeah.
One of the early PC phones or whatever?
Right. I had something like that, but it wasn't that fancy. So she
took a
PC
thing or something.
Yeah.
Yep. So she took a picture of it and then somehow transferred it to the computer, and then apparently had a picture of herself, and then just photoshopped, like took her head off and slapped it on top. I mean, it really looks bad, even for like the movie. It's not like they even tried in the movie to make it look like it. It quite literally looks like she could have taken like a picture, cut it out, and like taped it onto there, and it'd been just as good.
So she basically opened MS Paint, and she chose this thing called Image Enhance, and it all of a sudden it took her head and put it onto this woman's body in the photo, and that's how she did it.
And that's how she made it through being able to transfer $14 million
Not just
with
that.
a shitty Photoshop photo. That was her identity. That's how she was able to do it.
Yeah, without ID.
Without any ID. That was her ID.
It was just on the floor, and now it's like, oh, can you give this to so-and-so? It'll be all right. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, we'll just keep moving forward. Yeah.
And don't forget how she got into the supercomputer room as well. Bypassed all the security systems and stuff.
When the voice print?
Yeah. So the owner of the company says he has This is the part that doesn't make sense.
Oh, this doesn't make sense.
Oh yeah, he designed all the voice print security stuff, but then like has all these other glaring errors.
Yeah, so he has this supercomputer named after himself. He designed the security that only responds to his voice, but she's there to fix all his security holes and everything. Right. But he's intelligent enough and versed enough in the technology to design this whole supercomputer setup, which, by the way, doesn't use a screen. It uses a hologram to interact with, of course.
A spinning box.
Yeah, some kind of spinning globe.
Yeah.
And then all these, like, whatever she's doing shows up as part of this hologram, and it makes no sense. It has no connection to reality whatsoever.
Oh, not even close.
And she uses her pocket PC to record the room for 10 minutes for some reason, why she can't just do 10 seconds and loop it over and over, but records an empty room for 10 minutes, somehow patches that into the security cameras so that it looks like it's an empty room, so she can sit down at the desk and find out what the hell's going on via, I don't even understand this, some kind of program where the computer tells her what keys are used on the keyboard most often, so she can fill out find out the password to get into the system. It doesn't. It's a special
program. It's a special program she wrote. All right.
Yeah, but it's running on the supercomputer, which she doesn't even have the password to in the first place. And supposedly the supercomputer tells her what these keys were. Like, why would it even give you that information? It just doesn't make sense without a password in the first place. So. I don't know, man. There's a lot of weird stuff going on, but the coup de resistance is the very end, when the conspiracy all comes together and who's in on it. And
her ex-boyfriend that she left back in America.
Spoiler alert.
Nobody. It's spoiler for anybody. No one's gonna watch this piece of shit.
This was a giant conspiracy where her ex-boyfriend had planned this all out from the beginning to embezzle money from this Russian arms dealer via this bank in Turkey. So he had picked her out, dated her for I don't know how many years. Apparently it was pretty serious, and manipulated it to where this firm would pick her to be at the security job in Turkey. And so it's the all-time long con. And his whole plan, falling in love with her, living together and everything, was to embezzle money years later after she had been picked to work for the security firm.
Why didn't she just join him? So the whole beginning of the movie was he didn't want to move to Turkey with her because he had a life in wherever the hell they were.
He was some kind of archaeologist or something.
Something stupid. And so why if he wanted this con to go forward, why wouldn't he just follow her there?
I'm guessing because he needed to manipulate things in the shadows and didn't want to hang around her all the time or something while they were there. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, you know?
To leave her out in the cold?
Apparently he had been doing this before, too, because the other girl, Zizi, like, knew the same...
That's right.
Nightmare Dream catchphrase. So, like... Apparently, he running the scam on like multiple people? It really fell apart there.
Like she was in a Turkish prison too, and
it seems like she had just recently quote got out, and now was in the employ of these other guys to work this next job. So yeah, I don't know. It kind of fell apart there.
There's that part, and then there's also the stewardess who just happens to be working for Interpol on the airplane. That somehow she meets up with her randomly at that market or whatever. It's so dumb.
She had the tracker bracelet though. So
that's right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. She gave her a bracelet, evil eye bracelet, in the very beginning that had a tracker built into it so they could keep tabs on her. And they're surveilling her the whole time, and they're surveilling her because it shows this weird, like CRT scan lines over her being recorded at different parts of the movie. And it's got this stupid freeze frame effect that is so distracting, that happens a million times in this movie.
Yes.
When you're supposed to be paying attention to what the fuck's going on, and it's just it makes no sense at all. I don't get it.
See, the thing about the first movie was she had something that that they needed. It was a program to break into other things, and so she didn't want to give it up to these other people, so they were chasing her down. This was just anyone? No.
Crazy.
No, that's why I'm saying there's no fucking plot, because she shows up at a job, and all of a sudden there's some magical $14 million that just gets stolen and put into a bank account with her name. Well, how that happened, it doesn't explain, but that's the only reason. But why are they chasing her?
But she's the scapegoat, yeah, because they made it look like she's the one that stole it. How it happened, I have no idea.
Why? There's no purpose for it.
Yeah, they explain, or the boyfriend explains that they picked her out intentionally because she doesn't have her family died when she was young, so nobody's going to miss her and all this stuff. And I don't know, man. It seems like there's way easier ways to go about this than this 4 or 5 year long con that the guy. I don't know. I didn't like it.
I understood the first one because it had a plot to it. She had something that they wanted, and that's why they were chasing her.
It has a plot. It's just convoluted and doesn't make any sense. But
I agree with that.
I didn't think it was a total piece of shit like you did. I just thought a lot of it doesn't make sense.
Horrible piece of shit.
I mean, at least I thought it was watchable, and it just wasn't a good movie. I'm giving it a thumbs down, but I'm not as hard on it as you are. Yeah.
Garbage.
Lovecraft, what do you think?
I mean, it was definitely a tech movie, but it just didn't hold up. I gotta go thumbs down on this one.
There's a reason it was straight to video, I'm sure.
Yeah, it just should have never happened. It would have probably been better. But they did set it up for a sequel, so I don't know. Somebody was saying about the third one. I think it was Mordancy. You know, who knows? Another 10 years, it could happen.
Yeah, 2026, maybe 20 years later.
That 3.0. Come direct a video to you.
Tubi exclusive.
That's it. Actually, I think Tubi exclusive would be too high on the bar for it. What's lower than Tubi exclusive?
Excuse me, gentlemen. I didn't watch this movie, and I still believe that it's weakened my brain.
You're probably right.
Yep.
So I'm looking online, and there's no news about the Net 3.0. I can only assume that it's not being made.
Oh, I thought that was a joke. Seriously, I thought that you were just like joking around about a 3.0.
Well, I'm looking at it. There's nothing about the Net 3.0, so yeah, it's probably not being made. That's the movie. We pick the next one.
Yeah, what's the nice turd burger we're watching?
You don't know that.
Net 3.0 would just be catfishing and gaslighting and trolling.
That'd be too much of a plot.
Did Mordancy vote?
Oh yeah, what'd you think, Mordancy? Thumbs down. Okay.
Yeah, thumbs down. I could have watched something else and been happier.
Yeah.
Crack-Coon 2, The Return.
Oh, I hope so.
Are you ready? You're not going to believe
I am ready.
Let me see what this... I don't think we've done this before. Maybe we have.
What is it?
Let me make sure we haven't done it yet. I don't think we have. Okay, no, we have. I don't think we've done this before. It's Future Kick from 1991, starring Don the Dragon Wilson.
Oh my God. Believe me, we have done it. All his movies are the same.
All right.
Oh, from 1991. What's it on?
We
It's got to
probably
be on Tubi, right? So
it is on the Dragon Wilson, I'm sure.
it's on Tubi. Or if you wanted to buy it, you could get it from Prime Video. It's also on
How
Flex
much?
TV.
99 cents?
$2.99 to rent.
They pay you.
Deals with black market human body parts. Great.
Yeah, on Earth in the future, Don the Dragon Wilson takes on a sinister corporation that trades in black market human body parts. He single-handedly manages to restore law and order in a motion picture tour de force, guaranteed to thrill science fiction and martial arts fans alike.
They shortened it up on Tubi. Set in the future where a sinister corporation sells black market body parts, it takes an armed kickboxer to take them on and restore law and order.
Oh, the movie poster is classic. Shows him with these sunglasses on, like a Terminator
Yeah,
style.
it's very Terminator.
Ridicule on his face. Yeah, this is a classic.
It's like they
What was
took
it called
the
again?
Terminator Future Kick.
Future Kick.
Look, it's only
Oh my
80 minutes
gosh.
though, so
It quite literally looks like they took the Terminator poster and then just put down the Dragon Wilson in
very
it.
very similar.
I mean,
Yeah.
you say only 80 minutes, but it seems like it's going to be a long 80 minutes.
You're gonna love it, trust me.
That's what 4X is for.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there we go.
Does that mean we're actually closing the show?
I don't have anything else. It's up to you guys.
No, I don't have anything else. Either.
We talked rather extensively on my stuff, so
We saw all of Mordancy's treasures.
All right.
A handful of them.
And
I'll save more for another show.
yeah. If you join the Matrix, you may see pictures of them.
We encourage anyone to watch the video so they can really see all the pictures.
Absolutely.
You can see everything.
and we can start making that YouTube money.
Oh, yeah. No, if we want YouTube money, we're going to have to start talking about Steam Deck more and Firefox more.
Oh, those are the ones that brought in the numbers?
Those are the ones that brought in the numbers.
I can
What about
start
the
playing
Liquid
around
Death
with my Steam Deck
sponsorship?
again.
You
They
know,
should be sponsoring us. My God.
Oh, should we get? Hang on real quick. Let me see if we got any feedback.
I just want the severed lime. You guys can have all the rest. If they're giving us some, I just want the severed lime.
I'll take the mango chainsaw.
There you go.
No. No, it's just stuff from last show. Okay.
They send us a case every show. I will be happy.
All right. So we closing it down?
I'm good.
All right. Our next recording date will be February 21st, 2025. Our music is Downright, provided by Klaatu and Broam. We'd like to thank Minnix for the mumble server and pretty much every other server we use. I've been your host this evening, Honky McGoo. With us tonight has been Eric.
Have a good couple weeks.
Joe.
Good night.
Lovecraft.
Good night, everybody.
Minnix.
Good night, boys.
Mordancy.
Good night, everyone.
And Netminer.
Good night, friends.
Good night, everybody.